I mean, we've got $100 million worth of businesses now. I never thought I'd have $1 million worth of businesses. It'll get you a little more self-knowledge. It'll make you a little more intentional. It's a little bit of introspection that might open your mind to some things that you're forgetting. Help you make your sales, your marketing, your advertising more efficient, more effective. You should immediately profile your number one client. I want you to set yourself apart legitimately and in such a brief posture that someone wants to know more. It's good to get attention, but it's not good to get attention unless they also understand. We'll know we've advanced as a society when our children are able to make good money and cause social change with the same career. With the same career.
It can be done right now.
It can be done right now.
Right now.
Who should I be getting more business from? I said, the way I'm going to answer that is you and I are going to sit in your store for a half an hour. Well, why will that tell me? Well, I'll look at who's coming in now and who doesn't complain, and if they're in a white outfit, then I know they're from the hospital, and if they've got a hard hat on, I know they're from the construction site. Paul's lesson is very important, and none of us do that. Profile, one of the nicest things I'd like to see on your personal action summary is you should immediately, today or tomorrow, profile your number one client. What do they look like? How big are they? Where's their geography? How many people do they employ? What things make them a great client? How many people are involved in decision making? Anything, whatever it is. Just think about or your favorite several clients. What do they look like? And do you get it? That's Paul's point. If I know exactly what my best current client looks like, I'll know where to go fishing for my best prospects. Make sense? In a lot of cases, because a lot of us are B2B, a lot of cases it'll be in an aligned, not a direct to the buyer. So in other words, if I'm an attorney, I might be going to CPAs or to private equity companies or to whatever, as opposed to picking out people that will directly buy my service. I'm more looking for a referral point. In lending, maybe that's true. I look for referral points. Who's my best referral point that brings me the most business? How do they treat me? How do I treat them? That kind of a thing. So it can be a secondary. And so what is my best referral point? What's my best client? It will tell me where I want to go fishing with my list. Who else might I put on my database and pay some attention to? Who's your first consumer? Your employee. I call it the law of the first consumer. Because until they understand what I'm doing, I have a hard time getting my customer to understand what I'm doing. Until the person, and especially in the restaurant business, man, our face to the lowest part of our pay scale is 100% of our face to the customer. Our frontline person represents us. To the customer will never see, usually not even the general manager, let alone the area manager or the accounting people or whatever. They see our $10 an hour person. So they're my first consumer. And then I get into subsetting those too, by the way. So I might have a different message to my vendors than I have to my employee. I might once in a while have an overall message to all of them. My main message, by the way, is what? I'm available to talk. It's always my number one main message, even on my blog. I want people to dialogue with me, because once they dialogue, everything else takes care of itself. I don't have to hard sell anybody. Hard selling is dead, in my opinion. All I want to do is engage them in discussion, and I know 7 or 8 out of 10 of them won't buy, but that's okay. 2 of them will. I just want them to see me, hear me, talk to me, engage with me. Give me 8 to 15 words that either describes your business or an important product of your business. Here's the key phrase: that no one else can say. The trick part of my challenge was that no one else can say, not that no one else can do. because I have no doubts that every single one of you, look, the fun part of presenting to Vistage is I'm already with successful people, and I'm already with learning people. You can't get to this table unless you're successful, unless you're a learner. So it's not like I don't know that Adam's firm will close when no one else will, but it's not enough for the very high bar I'm setting for you. And the high bar I'm setting is, I don't want anybody else to be able even to say it. Why am I being that strict? I want you to set yourself apart legitimately and in such a brief posture that someone wants to know more. It already exists. You already have it in your business. That's the punchline. The punchline is, actually I'll do it this way. I'm in Houston about 3 months ago. The Vistage member says, we just give more personalized service at our walk-in emergency centers than anyone else does. I said, great, anybody can say that. He said, well, we started the business. Great, there's no consumer benefit in that. What's really your problem? Well, there's now 300 walk-in centers, in the Houston DMA or whatever. All right, how do you show personalized service? Why are you more personal than somebody else? Well, we went through 10 questions, and then somehow, just in passing, in answer to one of my questions, he goes, well, our doctor calls the patient the next day. I said, yeah, right. The call center calls the patient the next day and checks, just like my car dealer does, which is cool, good for you. He said, no. He said, no, when we hire a physician, and some of them don't like it, don't come to work for us because of it, we tell them that their first job every day, up on the computer, will be the 15 people they saw the day before, the 7 or whatever, and they have to make a phone call, whether they get a voicemail or whatever. Oh my God. You really do that? Yes, we really do that. At St. Michael's urgent centers, our doctor calls you within 24 hours of service. Does yours? Right. See where I'm going? It's to get the flavor. Does it grab attention? That's a very obvious one. But it's going to become harder with the other two. Does it grab it? Now, by the way, this is whether it's a merchandiser that you have in your salesperson's hands, or whether it's on your website, or whether it's on anything that is prospect or client facing, I consider as creative. Anything that's list facing, because it would even be to your employees, I consider creative. So the first question I have is, will it gain attention? So I concentrate on my blog, I concentrate a lot on the headline. It's like, gotta get their attention, or else nobody will read it, right? That's what I mean by attention grabbing. But it's hard to be attention grabbing and also be easy to understand. Anybody ever watch Caddyshack? And so my favorite scene in Caddyshack, because to me it's the definition of marketing. I use it in my marketing class. I have the actual thing up there. As you'll remember, Carl Spangler, was that his name? Bill Murray? Bill Murray was in the basement making female gophers out of plastic explosives. Remember? He's putting them together, and he's writing and I can't remember the exact words. I wish I had the thing with me, but he looks up at the camera and he says, if you want to catch a gopher, you got to think like a gopher. If your creative makes great sense to you, but the gopher doesn't understand it, you lose. Now, why is that very, very hard sometimes for you to get out of a very creative group of people? You're after sales. When you're working with the finest agency, they're after awards. Somebody in a Vistage meeting a few months ago brought up, what's the pig? Feed the pig?
Feed the pig.
Feed the pig, feed the pig, feed the pig, feed the pig. And I said, well, what's that? They said, that's really attention grabbing. You mean like feed the pig? I said, yeah, that sounds good. What does feed the pig mean? He goes, I don't know. I said, who was the feed the pig ad for? He said, I don't know. I just thought it was cool. Get where I'm going? It's good to get attention, but it's not good to get attention unless they also understand. But I share my journey just because I know everybody can get a little more meaning by figuring out whatever their meaning is. It's just being intentional, which takes us very nicely back to the sheet and why I have you fill these last two things out. I'll tell it to you in a story instead of getting too specific or having you, which again I hope you do with Randy. And it's another Vistage story. God, I love Vistage, and they don't pay me to say that. So I'm sitting around in, what would it have been, like around 98, and we were doing significant events, and under personal significant events, I said my mom is going to the assisted living down near my sister in Orlando. God, am I going to miss her. Because I, on purpose, located my business 30 miles from her and Dad so that my kids could get to know them, and it worked out so well. And so now Dad's gone for years, and Mom's 87 or 88 at the time. And my Vistage mate said, well, yeah, that's sad. That's a bummer. You're going to be missing your mom. What are you going to do about it? And I said, oh, I'm going to go visit her a lot. You know, for whatever time she has left, I'll go to Orlando a lot. And they said, yeah, your intention is you're going to go visit her a lot. I said, well, why would you not think that I would follow my intention? You know I'm a pretty intentional guy. They said, prove it. So I walked back into the next meeting, and I showed them 6 airline tickets to Orlando, Florida that were every 8 weeks for the following year. And then the next year I came to a Vistage meeting and showed them my tickets for the following year. What do you think the punchline is? She passed, like we all do. But only about a year and a half later, which I didn't much expect. And well, the better punchline is because my mom and I were terribly close, but I was one of 10, so I had a lot of competition for attention. And you know, she was getting to that point where she was, not always highly conversational. So I decided I'd put together 100 questions that I would like to ask her. And I'd walk in with my little computer, and I'd sit down, and instead of sitting there staring at each other, I'd start asking her questions, which she was very shy about that kind of thing, so it took a lot. But anyhow, I ended up having a book about my mom's life that's published on our family website and was given to everybody in our family. But I've got this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful tangible memory of my mom, and so does all of my kids and their kids and all that. I'm going to ask her stuff like, who was your college roommate? What was your brother like? What was your sisters like? Why did they get their names? Why did you give us our names? Just crazy stuff. But all stuff that's going to be very valuable, or is very valuable to everybody else in the family. My purpose. That's really your intention. What can I do consistently that might get me to be able to say I've achieved that purpose? And then what do I do specifically? My purpose was to be close to my mom. What could I do consistently? Go see her in Orlando. What did I absolutely have to do specifically? I had to buy the frickin' ticket. You got to meet me halfway. Buy the ticket, right? So I had to buy those tickets and actually go see her. Isn't that a fun story? Be intentional. Whatever you want to do. Whatever you want out of life. Be intentional.